Go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and welcome to another edition of Bar 911-970. And I want to wish you a hopefully happy and safe Halloween, whether you celebrate it or not. I hope you are careful, and I hope you are having a good day. And my recommendation is, try and get your kids to eat a little bit better things than the candy that they give out, but to each their own. And I want to send this message because I've been thinking about this a lot lately. For years, I never watched Game of Thrones. For some reason, I was just never interested in it, even though I was always fascinated with medieval times for whatever reason, even growing up. So I did have the opportunity to watch it lately, and I'm trying to see what kind of information they've been putting out there. Because I've said all the time, if you're awakened and you kind of see what's going on, you notice certain trends in movies, music, TV shows, and there's always underlying messages. And one of the biggest that I've seen in the past year or so is how much they're trying to empower women. Now, on the outskirts, you say, oh, that's a good thing. They should be empowered, and that's fine. But I've noticed it's getting to the point where there's messages that people may not be noticing, and I'm going to use the Game of Thrones as an example. Now, the biggest thing you'll see is, especially if you watch the last season that just happened, season 6, you see that a lot of the women are now taking over powerful kingdoms. And you could see, I don't know the characters yet, I'm not that much into it yet. And there are several different people where the kings are gone and now the queens are ruling their specific areas. This particular image of this woman is the last scene in the last season that she becomes the queen of all 7 kingdoms. So they're trying to, and you see this in so many different, like the Ghostbusters movies, like there's now the Supergirl movie, there's a whole bunch of different characters that are female-based. And to most women, they'll say, well, that sends a good message. It sends a message of power. Now, I'm going to share with you something. And yes, and is it CGO2 Key says to get Hillary in? I agree, because I actually made a video over a year ago saying that I knew that Clinton was going to become the president. They at least wanted to try, and you can see how hard they're trying to get her in, based on the fact that you got to program people. Now, you can't just say it. You have to put it in movies. You have to put it in music and in TV shows so you get used to it, and then it becomes the norm to you. That's how you're programmed. So you think something is just a regular song or a TV show or a movie, and there's actually agendas. So one of the agendas, and I'm sure a lot of women will say, well, what's wrong with women being in power? Well, here's what I want you to notice that you may not notice about. If you watch the Game of Thrones, you will know that they have women in 2 different forms. Pretty much. They are either, and I'm just quoting the TV show, so hopefully no one will get offended, they are either called whores or they're in power. Now, what's the difference between the two? Well, you notice that every woman in power is wealthy, comes from a wealthy family or a wealthy background, and all the quote-unquote whore women are poor. So listen to the message. Now, most people don't see that deep into it and don't read into it. They just say, oh, look at all the women that are taking over in power. That's empowering. If somebody says, I'm a woman, that it empowers me. Well, are you a wealthy woman? Or are you a poor one? Because if you're poor, they're sending the message that you'll just be a whore or you'll never be queen. So in other words, what they're teaching you is, and you see this in any society, that the leaders are wealthy. They don't have to be the smartest. They don't have to be the healthiest. They don't have to be the most righteous. They just have to have money, or what they call money. Now, back then, in this TV show, they based their money on land, the amount of people that they own, and gold. We use paper currency. So they make unrealistic expectations and send messages that you don't get the full amount. So you'll only see it for its face value. So if you're one of those people, especially if you're a feminist or somebody that just notices these things on a smaller background, you'll say, oh, look, I'm noticing all these women in power. But you're not noticing the deeper layer of the fact that to be powerful in any of these shows, and I'm just using the Game of Thrones as an example, that you have to have wealth. You have to have power. That poor people are seen as peasants and whores and people to do all the nasty work for them. And that's what it boils down to. And that's why I stress so much about the fact that we should not be dependent on leaders, because their job is to utilize us. It's like in the Matrix. It's like using us as a battery. What do they do with the battery? They use it for a function, and when the function is no longer served, they throw it out. That's why you see, when you're young, they want to program you. They want you to spend your life wanting to save all this fiat currency, and then spend it on every bit of junk just to fit in. And they use Hollywood to motivate people to buy garbage. So you'll buy things like sports activity, like shirts and things like that, and jerseys, and you'll buy the latest fashion because somebody put it on a television show. I mean, how many people dressed up as that woman for Halloween? Or Negan, for example, with The Walking Dead. How many people do you know dressed up like either one of those two? Following the trends. We don't want to be servant to anyone, but we still choose that. So my question to anybody out there is this sending a positive message to women when you see it at the deeper level? Because the woman that's now and again, I don't know the name, so forgive me, I'm not that much into it. I'm doing it more for seeing what kind of messages are out there. Is they're trying to say there was a patriarchy, and now we're getting more women into power. But again, they're all wealthy. So all of the women that are poor are seen as whores, or peasant women, or fighters. In other words, serving. The majority of people are poorer. I mean, you could make a couple of $100,000. You're not rich. I mean, especially when you buy a better house and you probably buy a lot more things and go on a lot more vacations, you probably spend the majority of your money and you're probably in debt. We'll never match the people that have millions and billions of dollars that, could buy 10 Lamborghinis just to play around with them because they want ones of different colors. So, to any women out there, I hope you're not offended by me sharing this point of view, but do you think things like this are sending a good message? Even like I say with the Ghostbusters. I mean, the original Ghostbusters, they were afraid. They didn't know what they were doing. They had to learn. They weren't instantly these destroyers of ghosts with confidence. And I haven't seen the new Ghostbusters movie, nor will I ever, because it's not just the women that I had a problem with. I hate reboots. It's lazy, it's not original, and they destroy what was good. I will not watch any reboots. I'm so sick of them. That you see all these women in the movie, from the little clips and things that I've seen, where they have these proton packs, which are, by the looks of them, pretty heavy. And they show battle scenes where they're just flipping around in the air with these things on, shooting like they've been expert marksmen all their lives. It sends unrealistic messages. And just, what does that teach younger women? It's like, oh, we need to be like men? What's going to happen one day if some little girl goes up to some kid, some bigger boy, and because of the influence of these TV shows and movies, decides, you know what, I'm strong like that. I can go stand up to these bullies. And then all of a sudden one guy decides, you know what, you want to be equal, and knocks her out. Is it going to come to that point? And I hope it never does. Diversity is a beautiful thing. Be your own individual, but don't have others tell you who to be. And that's why I find it funny how many people dressed like this woman for Halloween and how many people dressed like Negan. Because we're so used to being led and directed based on television shows, television, and movies, and even music, if you listen to the words. I have one of my videos, if you watch it, it's under my must-watch list, of a Christmas song, that instead of singing it, I speak it. And when you hear the words in spoken form, it's downright creepy. I hope you watch that video. So, I would love to know, to any women that are watching this, whether you're watching it live, you watch it later on, do you think these TV shows are really sending a good message, or do you think there's an underlying thing that they're trying to sneak in there? And that's why I wanted to point out the fact that they show all these women in power, but you have to be wealthy to have power. And they show all of the regular people as just tools to be used, or to be discarded. And that's what they view about us, Politicians, when they need your votes or they need your quote unquote donations or whatever, they're all of a sudden there to be your best friends. But where are they when they don't need your votes and they don't need your donations? They're nowhere to be found. They're at very elaborate parties and banquets, talking down about us, calling us the deplorables and things like that. That's what they really think. And that's why they don't want their emails exposed and all of these things being spoken about. My thing is, it's bad enough that they do it. What's even worse is we accept it, that it's okay. I refuse to be that way. And I feel bad for this next generation of women. They're being taught that they are equal to men in every way. And that's just not the case. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's supposed to be diversity. That's why a plus magnet and another plus magnet will never connect. It's the opposite that attracts. It's okay to have the yin and the yang, and that's what male and female is, the yin and the yang. But they're trying to get everybody to be the same. They're trying to make men more effeminate, and they're trying to make women more masculine, so it can all be one thing. Why do we allow that? Why is that good? I don't want a woman that looks like a man and acts like a man and does things like a man. And I know plenty of women that don't want a very feminine man that wants to paint their nails and worry about their appearance and putting on makeup. But that's what they're gearing. So I think not only are women being sent the wrong message, men also. So I'm not going to make this video too long because it is a holiday and I know there's going to be plenty of people celebrating and they might not have time to watch videos like this. But I'm saying, look at these messages out there. See the bigger picture. They're mocking us. And we seem to be okay with it. We may be frustrated, but we're still allowing it. And that's got to change. And I hope it does. So if you appreciate this, the thumbs up and the sharing always helps because, like I said, I average about 12 to 1,300 new subscribers every month, and my views go down. And I don't know how. So either people don't like my message or it's being doctored. Years ago, I used to say that I was called paranoid and crazy. I don't get that much anymore. So it's so blatantly obvious at this point. So leave your comments. Thank you to everybody that takes the time to chat live. I don't read the questions because I don't want to be thrown off, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate you taking the time and effort. I hope you will discuss this and talk amongst yourselves. And if you are going out tonight, please don't drink and drive. Please be careful. And watch the food that you put in your mouth. Stay away from the junk food. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. Have a wonderful night.